The devil's goal is to kill, steal, and destroy by any means necessary. His goal is to eliminate you, to get you out of the picture. And if he cannot destroy you physically, then he wants to destroy you emotionally and mentally. And he will do this by causing distractions. He will do this by causing confusion in your life. Because if I can occupy your mind with something else, if I can occupy your mind with all of what you're dealing with, or with things that feed your flesh or that feel good, then you will never lock in or go deep enough in a spiritual relationship with God to become all of who you're meant to become. You will never become aware of a millionaire resides on the inside of you. You will never become aware of the fact that a business owner resides on the inside of you. A minister resides on the inside of you. A teacher resides on the inside of you. A leader resides on the inside of you. You will never become aware of just how great you are, or be in tune enough with God to walk down a path where he can show you how great what you have in you is, because you will be constantly distracted over here and over there and confused and being fed things that make your flesh feel good, and you will not be able to lock in. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? And welcome back to another episode on Fourth Quarter Pressure, where you are always the more and never the lesser. I'm your host, CJ Stokely, and I am excited to be sitting here with you today. I'm excited for another opportunity for us to lock in, clear your mind, remove all of the negativity that may be in your heart, all of the negative thoughts, all of whatever challenges you dealt with today. Anything that can distract you from being able to hear what the Spirit of the Lord is trying to say from this episode. I need you to lock in. It's going to be quick. We're going to be straight to the point. But remove all the distractions. Remove all of the digressive variables in your life right now so that you can receive the encouragement, receive the insight, receive the wisdom that you need to receive in order for you to go forward and be the best version of yourself and tackle and overcome every challenge that you face in life. Speaking of digressive variables, I want to go straight into our topic, which is digressive variables. So I want us to look at the definition of these two words separately. Number one, the first word being digressive. When you look at the word digressive, it means to depart from the subject. To depart. What does that word mean? To go away from, to separate, to remove yourself away from the subject. Okay? Now, your subject in life is your purpose. It is your calling. It is your mission. It is your destiny, and it is your goals and your success. The things that cause for you to be locked in, focused each and every day, that thing that motivates you, that you have on your mind, that you're trying to reach, that you are pursuing, that you are trying to obtain, that is your subject. Okay. Now, when we look at the second word, variables. Now, we all hear this word very often, and we all might seldomly use this word as well. But I want us to really understand what this word means so that when we put these two words together, we can understand what it is that we're really talking about here. So when we talk about what a variable is an element, feature, or factor that is liable to change. Now, your mind might be saying, oh, okay, that means I need to remove all of the things that don't allow for consistency in my life just by hearing the word variable, because a lot of times people assume that change is bad because change can be uncomfortable, but not all change is bad. The only kind of bad change or negative change is the change that causes you to not become who you really are, that causes you to not become the best version of yourself. The type of change that causes for you not to be locked in and focused on the purpose and the mission and the destiny and the goal and the dreams and the success that you foresee for yourself in the future. That is when change becomes negative. That is when change becomes non-conducive to who it is that you're trying to be, to who it is that God is trying to develop you to be, i.e. the you that you haven't seen yet. So now you have to understand that outside of or opposed to the negative change, there is positive change. That positive change is also sometimes going to be hard. It's also going to be painful. It's also going to be unsettling. It also may cause for you to feel the need to be anxious or to worry. But in that, if that change pushes you to dig deeper, to go deeper into your prayer life, to seek God even harder, to become more aggressive in your passion, to go after that thing, those dreams, those goals, what you foresee for yourself, then that is considered a good change. So now when we put these two words together, digressive variables, essentially you can explain it as this: all of the factors and features and elements in your life that provoke change, distractions, or confusion, causing you to depart from your subject, to depart from your mission, to depart from your call, to depart from your purpose. Anything in your life that pulls you in a direction away from being great. It is not wisdom to have dreams and goals, but not have the right type of variables in your life in order to reach those dreams and goals. What I mean by the right type of variables is progressive, the opposite of digressive, progressive variables. So now the reason for that is because you cannot produce what is not in you. This is the reason why you have to eliminate digressive variables, variables that pull you away from your mission and your calling. You have to eliminate them because you cannot produce what is not in you, and you will not. Hear me clearly. You can't produce what's not in you, and you will not produce what you don't know is in you, what you are not aware of, when you have not come into a space of being one with yourself, one with the Holy Spirit, so that you understand why you have such a purpose and a calling on your life. When you are not realizing how great the man of God or the woman of God that is in you, that God is trying to pull out of you, when you don't realize how great that person is, you will never be able to reach your goal or obtain that thing that you are not aware of. You are not aware of how great you are in the inside. So let's look at first, not producing what's not in you. To be successful takes discipline. And in order to have discipline, that means you have to be consistent. If you have digressive variables in your life, that means that things are pulling you away from your mission. That creates inconsistency in your life. One moment you'll be over here, next moment you'll be over here, and you'll be flowing in the spirit, and you'll be caught up in your flesh. Then you might get angry, then you might react. all of these things are causing inconsistency in your life. So you cannot say, I want to reach these goals. I want to become this man or woman of God. And yet you are not being cautious with the variables that are in your life. You are not eliminating the digressive variables, the variables that pull you away from having that focus. You are not eliminating the variables in your life that keep you from locking in, pressing forward towards the mark of the high calling in Jesus Christ. You are not constantly pushing forward and trying to become the best version of you and to reach what it is that you're going after. So you have to remove those from your life, because again, you cannot produce what you don't have in you. You need consistency around you. You need people and things and situations that are consistent so that you can be consistent, so that you can stay on track, so that you can become all of who God is trying to help you to become, all of who God has a desire for you to become, so that you can obtain all the things that you want to obtain, that God wants for you to obtain. So now let's look at this next point. Not producing what you aren't aware of. Because remember, I said you will never produce what you aren't aware of that is in you. You will never produce what you don't know resides within you. So the devil's goal is to kill, steal, and destroy by any means necessary. His goal is to eliminate you, to get you out of the picture. And if he cannot destroy you physically, then he wants to destroy you emotionally and mentally. And he will do this by causing distractions. He will do this by causing confusion in your life. Because if I can occupy your mind with something else, if I can occupy your mind with all of what you're dealing with, or with things that feed your flesh or that feel good, then you will never lock in or go deep enough in a spiritual relationship with God to become all of who you're meant to become. You will never become aware of a millionaire resides on the inside of you. You will never become aware of the fact that a business owner resides on the inside of you. A minister resides on the inside of you. A teacher resides on the inside of you. A leader resides on the inside of you. You will never become aware of just how great you are, or be in tune enough with God to walk down a path where he can show you how great what you have in you is, because you will be constantly distracted over here and over there and confused and being fed things that make your flesh feel good, and you will not be able to lock in. So you have to be sure that you remove the digressive variables in your life so that you can focus, so that you can actually get to where it is that God has for you. We all have a desire to be great. Most of us, at least, we have a desire to be great. Some of us have allowed digressive variables to overtake us so much so that we have given up. We've gotten caught up in all these other variables that we've allowed to come into our life. And now all we can think about is the emotions of frustration and anxiety and anger that these different variables that have come into our life have caused. That now we don't even see that we have a purpose in life anymore. We don't even care to be great. Some of us don't even want to be here anymore. And if we could get to a place where we eliminate the digressive variables that we allow to come into our lives, then it would allow for us not to feel that way. We would actually recognize who we are. We would recognize that we're valuable, that we are special, that we are important. Each one of us. 99% DNA is equal with all human beings. Every human being on this earth has the exact same DNA up to 99%. What makes us different is the 1%. A scientific fact. Every human being on this earth has 99% the exact same DNA. It is the 1% that makes us different. And that 1% is what makes you valuable. It's what makes you special. There will never be another you. And sometimes you have to recognize your value and remove the digressive variables out of your life and say, I've had enough. I want all of the things that God has for me. I want all of the things that I should have. God did not create us for us not to be successful in life. He did not create us to be failures or to be poor or to be struggling all the time or in emotional turmoil or mental turmoil. He created us to thrive and be successful and to enjoy this life, but to also make an impact with the mission that he has given us. And we cannot do that unless we remove digressive variables. So now I want to give you a couple examples of what digressive variables may look like in your life. Number one, friends and family. People that live lifestyles that are not a reflection of God. Don't get that confused with the reality that you can still have communication with individuals who don't believe in God. We are called to outreach. We are called to ministry. We are called to be relational with individuals so that we can draw them closer to God, so that we can bring them closer to God, make them aware that there is a God that they are missing out on, that they need, who loves them, who placed them here, that's waiting for them to recognize him, to accept him into their lives. However, you have to understand that that does not mean that all of these individuals need to be friends. It does not mean that every family member needs to be close and personal to where they are having influence on you, to where you are exhausting your energy and your time and your thoughts and your emotions with these individuals that do not produce things that are going in the direction of God, that are going in the direction of where you're trying to go. There is a difference in that. And you have to be aware of that and recognize that, and do not allow people, just because they're cool with you or their family members with you, to become digressive variables in your life. You can love people from a distance. You can love people in the way that is healthy for you to love them. You have to remember that you're called to be a leader. You may have people in your life that you're trying to be friends with, but in reality, they're not walking the same lifestyle as you. They may not be where you are spiritually. They may not be where you are mentally. They may not be where you are emotionally. So it has to be your job to influence them as a leader. But instead, you are congregating with them, dwelling in conversations on the level that they reside on, and it is now becoming an influence on your life. It is now the conversations that are going into your ear gates that are impacting your thoughts and impacting your emotions and disturbing your spirit from you being focused on your mission. So some of these individuals you have to cut off from being friends, and not remove them from your life, but place them in a place of, you are my mentee, or you are somebody who I have love for, who I have respect for, but I cannot dwell with you as a friend. I cannot reside with you as a friend. I have to place you in a certain category and understand that you're not on the same path as me. So now I want to help bring you up. So I'm going to impart wisdom and knowledge into your life. I'm going to lead like God has called me to lead, but I'm not going to have you so close to me that you are now able to impact my thoughts, my decisions, and distract me or cause me to depart from my subject, to depart from my mission, my goals, my focus, and the purpose that God has put on my life. The next point, the love of money. All money is not good money. Do not allow for money to become a digressive variable in your life. The Bible says in Matthew chapter 6, verse 24, no man can serve two masters, for either he will hate one and love the other, or he will hold on to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both money and God. Now, I like the second part of that scripture because a lot of times that's what we see in individuals in our society. That is what we see from individuals close to us. And sometimes that's what we see in ourselves. We're so concerned with safety and security when it comes to finances that we will work a job or pick a career field that may not be the job or the career field that God told you to go into. And now you are being stretched in two different directions because on this side, you're saying, but God, I need to live. And on this side, you're saying, but God, I love you. I'm going to follow you. I want the purpose and the blessings that you have for my life. And they will never go together. Those two can never coexist. You have to choose one or the other. But like the second part of the scripture says, it says he will hold one and despise the other. You won't completely let go of it. You'll still try to say, I'm a Christian. I love God, but I hate my job. I can't stand it. But I'm staying at that job because it produces the finances that I think I need. Instead of just trusting God, working the job or the career or doing the thing that God told me to do to make income and being satisfied with that and walking that out by faith because I am called to be in alignment with God. I'm called to be in obedience with God. Do not allow the love of money to cause you to depart from your subject, to depart from your mission, to cause you to mess up your relationship with your God, because God is faithful to his children. God is faithful to those who love him, who have received him and follow him and walk by faith. He is always going to provide everything that you need. Now, be understanding of this, specifically need, not want. God is going to always provide what you need. It doesn't mean you're going to have everything that you want, that you're going to have the car that you want, that you're going to have the house that you want, that you're going to have all the millions or hundreds of thousands or billions of dollars that you desire to have. But it is better to have treasures in the kingdom of heaven. It is better that when the eastern sky splits and Jesus comes down, that you are somebody that is going to be confident that you have had the right heart posture, you have followed Christ in obedience, and that there is a place in heaven for you. So do not allow the love of money to become a digressive variable in your life. Trust in God and trust that he is going to provide what you need, and have the humility to live in what you need. And when you do that, God knows he can trust you to give you even more. Now, last point, bad habits and lifestyle choices. You cannot fulfill the purpose that God intends for you to fulfill. You cannot reach your goal. You cannot obtain the things that you want in this life. You cannot see your dreams come to fruition. You cannot become all of who you are meant to become if you are not alive. You have to be living in order to be used. So make sure you understand the value of self. Make sure you understand the value of what you have, yourself. Don't kill your dreams by slowly killing yourself. I'm going to say that again. Don't kill your dreams by slowly killing yourself. Let's go deeper. Eating what you put in your body. The nourishment of your body is extremely important. You have to take care of your body. This is the only body that you get. It's not like movies. You can't die and then be transformed. Your conscious go into somebody else's body and you get to live another life. No, this is the one body you get. And God needs for you to take care of your physical so that you can be here to do the Lord's work as long as possible. So that you can fulfill the mission that God intends for you to fulfill. You got to take care of what you put in your body. You got to make sure you're putting the right things in your body. Drinking, smoking, partying, all of these things that are not conducive for your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health. There are people who die from stress, from anxiety all of the time. And it is because of lifestyle choices and bad habits. There are things that people partake in or participate in that are not good for their heart, their mind, their soul, their spirit, their body. It's not good. You have to take care of you. Now let's go even further. Let's talk social media. Social media is not conducive. The overuse of social media is not conducive for the mind. You begin to start trying to live someone else's life that you see on social media. Your motivation becomes driven by what you see on Instagram or what you see on TikTok. That starts to become the driving factor of what you pursue. You no longer are staying focused on pursuing what God has for you because you're so concerned with what's on social media. You're so concerned on trying to live this lifestyle because you see people with things that you want. You have to make sure that you have a balance in your life, that social media does not become your God. That social media does not become a digressive variable. Social media can be a variable in your life, but it must be a progressive variable. It must be used for success, for business, to do whatever it is that God has called you to do, whether that be music, sports, ministry, whatever gift that you have that God has given you that he's trying to get you to use. Social media is a great resource to use, but that's all it is a resource. Don't allow it to become what you identify yourself as. Don't allow it to become a digressive component in your life. Do not allow it to become a digressive variable and pull you away from your mission, pull you away from your subject. You have to stay focused on God. There is a reality that we all have to get to. And that reality is that we must start taking responsibility for our own lives. We must start taking accountability and control over our lives. We are not necessarily in control of all of the things that we encounter in life, but we are 100% in control of what or who we allow to dwell in our space, to reside in our space, to have relationship with us. These variables that we have in our life have to all make us stronger, have to all make us better, have to drive us towards our mission and our goal, our subject. If there is anything in our lives that pulls us away from always staying focused. Now, we're human. Everybody's not always going to be locked in because things happen in life. But these things that happen in life is just life. Don't allow the distractions to come from the variables, because the variables are the things that you keep in your life, not the things that you experience in life. Don't allow digressive variables to just stay in your life. All the variables and the different components and features and factors that are in your life should only be pushing you forward, should only be helping you to stay focused on your mission, to do what it is that God has called for you to do, because I know and you know that we all want to be successful. We want something out of this life. We want to see ourselves thrive. And there is a benefit to obedience with God. There's a benefit to following God. You may not be a millionaire, but there is always a benefit on this life, on this planet, in this world. There is always a benefit to being consistently obedient, staying focused on your mission, whether that be simply staying out of trouble, whether it be simply avoiding situations that you don't have to incur simply because you don't allow certain digressive variables in your life or digressive people in your life, or putting yourself in situations or environments that are not conducive to who you are or who you're trying to be. All of those things are important, and it starts with taking accountability and taking control of our lives. It starts today. I believe that you have it in you. I believe that you are strong enough, that God has placed it in you. You have to believe it. You have to know that everything that God has for you is 100% obtainable by you. You're strong enough. You're powerful enough. You have what it takes to obtain it. There is just a strategy. There's a blueprint for how to obtain it. And it has to start with taking accountability. It has to start with taking control of your life. It has to start with eliminating digressive variables out of your life and only keeping features, factors, components, i.e. variables in your life that are progressive. So starting today, I want you to make a list, and I want you to be honest with yourself. I want you to write down all of the digressive variables in your life. Even if you can't categorize everything and put it all together yet, I want you to think about it and get it on paper. What are the digressive variables in my life? If it's emotional instability, and that has become such a factor that it is now becoming a digressive variable in my life, then I want you to write it down, and I want you to start planning how you're going to deal with that. If it's friendships, family members, if it's social media, if it's the love for money, or if it's the love for things, or if it's food, or whatever it is, I want you to start writing it down so that you can acknowledge it. You can take accountability for it. You can address it so that you can start to deal with these things and eliminating the things that need to be eliminated out of your life. And remember, not all variables are bad, so not all change is bad. Just because change is uncomfortable, it does not mean that it's bad. There is progressive variables that will cause progressive changes in your life that won't always feel like progressive changes, because you are being transformed. You're being twisted and turned into a version of yourself that you don't know resides within you. But trust God, stay obedient. Trust the process. Trust God's plan. Trust God's strategy for your life. And I promise you, it is always going to pay off. But first, you must remove the digressive variables. God bless you. I love you. Thank you for tuning in to this episode. I pray that the rest of your week is awesome. I pray that God continues to do things with you, continues to reveal things to you. I pray that you will continue to grow in your spirituality. I pray that God will continue to develop you into the man or woman of God that he intends for you to be, and that you reach your goal. Don't get distracted. Don't get off your subject. Don't get off your mission. Don't allow digressive variables to maintain their existence in your life. Remove them. It is time for a change. It is time to eliminate digressive variables. Also, remember, you are always the more and never the lesser. You and me, we are fourth quarter pressure. God bless you. Hold up. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Fourth Quarter Pressure Podcast. I genuinely appreciate you. If it blessed you, if you got something from it, if you received any message from something that was shared on this episode, please go and rate it 5 stars. Please like, share, subscribe, the whole 9 yards. Spread the word to your friends, your family members, because we are trying to make an impact. We're in this together. Remember, I said that we're in this together. So I pray that you are blessed by it. Follow on all social media platforms at This Is 4QP. And remember, you are always the more, never the less. And we are Fourth Quarter Pressure. I'll see you next time.